Welcome to today's explainer. Okay, I want you to close your eyes for just a quick second. Picture the shadowy, mist-filled forests of Sleepy Hollow. You know, the kind of place, right? Where the trees just seem to close right in around you and the silence of the night feels heavy and thick. Well, today, we're going to walk through one of the most famous folk tales in history. But we aren't just going to sit here and read a story. We're going to really examine the text, the claims, and the timeline of this dark legend, breaking down the exact details of what supposedly happened out there in those woods.
Okay, let's dive into this because this is where our explainer really starts to take on the shape of a cold case mystery. The source material presents us with a totally fascinating premise. What if this isn't just some campfire tale? According to the text, out there in the shadowy forest of Sleepy Hollow, actual witnesses claim that a headless rider still roams the night. And honestly, here's the truly chilling part. Some of those accounts say he isn't just wandering aimlessly. They claim he's actively searching for his next victim. This completely frames our understanding of these events, not as a dusty myth from the past, but as an ongoing, terrifying reality for those who live near the woods.
Section 1. The Myth of Sleepy Hollow. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what the villagers were dealing with. We aren't just talking about a shapeless monster or a demon here. The source actually grounds this ghost story into a factual profile of a fallen soldier. The text defines the Headless Horseman as a mysterious ghost who was once a soldier. Specifically, he lost his head during a battle many years ago. By understanding his origin as a literal casualty of war, it gives this stark historical context to the Phantom. He's this tragic, yet intensely dangerous figure, bound to the area by a very violent end.
Now, can you imagine the psychological toll this took on the people of Sleepy Hollow? The horseman's terrifying nightly routine kept this otherwise quiet village living in a state of constant fear. Every single night, according to the legend, this former soldier mounts a black horse and just roams the dark forests. His objective is incredibly specific. He is endlessly searching for his missing head. So you see, this isn't a random haunting. It's a methodical, nightly patrol, and it sets the absolute, perfect, terrifying stage for the moment this legend turns into a direct confrontation.
Section 2. The Midnight Chase.
Well, every chase needs a target, right? And our source introduces us to a man named Ichabod Crane. Ichabod was a schoolteacher in the area. The contrast here is just incredibly striking. On this specific autumn evening, Ichabod was simply riding home after attending a party. So he goes from this warm, lively social gathering directly into the lonely, isolating environment of the dark woods. It's the perfect setup for vulnerability. He's totally alone, the woods are quiet, and he is entirely unaware that he has just ridden right into the hunting grounds of the village's most feared resident.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because the pacing of this fateful night is basically a masterclass in escalating tension. First, the evening begins safely enough as Ichabod leaves the party. Then, night falls as he travels through those lonely woods we just talked about. But then, the environment changes. Out of the pure silence, he suddenly hears it, the heavy, rhythmic sound of galloping hooves coming right up from behind him. This perfectly structured sequence drives him straight toward the climax of the night, racing for his life as he desperately approaches the old bridge. I really want you to absorb this quote from the source material. When Ichabod hears those hooves, sheer human instinct forces him to look back. And when he does, he sees this terrifying figure on horseback. Fear gripped Ichabod's heart. The rider had no head. This is absolutely the cinematic punch of the entire explainer. It's the exact moment the abstract myth of the fallen soldier becomes a horrifying reality for Ichabod Crane. The ghost is real, and it is right behind him. From there, the chase just erupts into absolute panic. First, Ichabod desperately urges his horse to run faster, trying to somehow outpace this phantom through the total darkness. The chase races toward a specific local landmark, the old bridge. And then comes the climax of the attack. As Ichabod approaches that bridge, the Headless Horseman doesn't just ride past him. The horseman actually raises what appears to be his own severed head, and he violently hurls it directly at the schoolteacher. Section 3. The Missing Schoolteacher. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer contrast between these two items found the next day. On one side, we have the complete disappearance of a human being. The victim, Ichabod Crane, vanishes without a trace and is never seen again. But on the other side, look at the physical evidence the villagers actually found on the road that morning. They didn't find a battlefield. They found Ichabod's hat and a smashed pumpkin. That's it. It's a strangely mundane collection of evidence, and it leaves us with massive questions about what actually functioned as that terrifying projectile the night before. So the crucial point is how this single, unresolved disappearance fundamentally locked this legend into the culture of the area. Because Ichabod Crane was never found, the villagers' fears were completely validated. To this day, the source notes that many people hold an enduring belief that the terrifying chase wasn't an isolated event. They truly believe the Headless Horseman still rides his black horse through the misty nights of Sleepy Hollow, continuing his endless, obsessive search. Which leaves us with this final, chilling question. The original myth stated the fallen soldier was simply searching for his lost head. But after the terrifying disappearance of Ichabod Crane, the witness claims at the start of our explainer take on a much, much darker tone. When those hooves echo through the dark forest tonight, is the Headless Horseman just looking to make himself whole again, or is he relentlessly searching for his next victim? Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and hey, I highly recommend you keep a close eye on the shadowy woods on your next ride home.